We're talking with Mississippi College head coach John Bland as we look ahead to this weekend's game against the Florida Tech Panthers. First of all, Coach, let's look back to the weekend against Valdosta State. A loss for the Choctaws, 42-17. You know, it was a close game late, 11-point game for Valdosta going into the fourth quarter. MC was in it for 3 quarters, and then I think probably their depth and their talent took over there in the fourth quarter. But early on in the football game, you know, Valdosta scored those 2 touchdowns very early. Yeah. What was your message to the team after those 2 quick touchdowns to start the ball game?
Well, I believe this. You know, they had a couple of really good, the one double reverse pass, you know, and everybody got lost a little bit. They are talented. You know, they've won 20 straight games now, so you're not going to do that without good players. But they are talented, and sometimes some teams may be a little intimidated. That's probably a part of the process that goes into getting a win streak like that. Maybe teams aren't play quite their best. Well, that happened to us in the first couple of minutes of the ball game. We got down 14-0. Next thing you know, it's 14-7, and we're in a football game, and things kind of slow down a little bit. I know that we're not the type of team, and our players are not the type of players who get intimidated. They believe they can win. They believe they can play. We just got to play consistently good, and I think that's been our biggest issue. And not taking the thing away from Valdosta State and the other teams we're playing. They're good, and we got to play well to beat them. And this league is full of really good football teams. So, just like you said, we got all the way to the third quarter. We're down 21-17. We've got the football, having a chance to take the lead against the best team in the country, and we just couldn't do it or didn't do it. And then it was still an 11-point game. Even there at the very end, we're driving down the field, and it's 35-17, trying to make it 35-24. And not saying that if we onside kick, we may get another chance, but instead we turn the ball over, and then it goes 42-17 instead of 35-24, which we had driven the ball all the way down the field. So we were in there, right there, toe-to-toe with them. And I think most of the things that happened in the ball game were self-inflicted. It wasn't because Valdosta State was so much better than us. I don't think we got pushed around one bit.
Talk about the pace of the football game that the Choctaws like to play at. A lot of that is predicated on running the football first and second, but making pass plays when you need to. And I know that was an issue for you this past week.
It was, and I think we had some opportunities right there. And I know that we know that. We watch the film, we see that, and we're working on those type of things. It's tough to, you know, even for passing teams to work on their run game. It's tough on running teams to work on their pass game and be that accurate. With a quarterback who runs the ball extremely well, and Dietrich does really, really good. Running the football, he's quick, he's hard to hem up, and then also to be a great passer and to be accurate all the time is not easy. And so we're working on that so we can hit those passes when they're open. And I think we created, because of our run game is strong, we create some things where we're at least one-on-one and maybe have 2 or 3 steps on those defenders, a couple of guys that were open, and we need to hit those right there, and we will. If we do, we're going to have a chance to win a lot of football games for the remainder of the season.
229 yards rushing for this team last week against one of the best defenses in the conference and in the nation as well. And continue to be impressed with the way this football team runs between the tackles.
It is. That's something we did last year. We were more running the football with Dietrich, with our quarterback, and on the perimeter a little bit. But this year we've gotten better at running in between the tackles, like you're saying. And then I believe that that's going to continue to be the case. I think that has to do with our offensive line experience, and also Coach Summers doing a great job with our offensive line and coming off the football. I think our slots are helping, block inside as well, but also our fullbacks are really, I know we had Tiberius Lampkin last year, and he was a really hard-nosed kid, but these guys run really good in between the tackles, the ones we have this year, and Jordan Wright and also Jalen Jones. We'll have Jalen Henderson getting a few reps in the ball game as well. So I'm excited about the way they're running in between the tackles also.
I was about to say about Jalen Henderson and some of these other guys, you continue to get 6, 7, 8 guys carries of the football throughout the course of the ball game. And I know that's something that often is dictated perhaps by the score, but also by the plan of making sure that guys get reps in game action so that when their name's called upon later on down the line, they're ready to go.
That's exactly right. And I know this. It's a physical offense I'm talking about. It's not necessarily where we're taking a beating. We want to be just the opposite. We want our offense to give the defense a beating and really put the physical nature of the game on them so that they become softer and softer, and then it ends up paying off for us in the long run. Well, because of that nature of that game, and it's not a finesse game where we're using our hands and backing up and protecting, it's going to take a toll on us. So you need more than one at each position, and I think that's been a big help for us at the slots and the fullbacks. And so I think that's making a big difference, having some talented kids in there, so you're not worried about it when they get in the ball game. Do we have to call a different play? Do we have to maybe try to get on the perimeter, or maybe not run it to the left because we're weaker at a certain spot? That's what we're trying to get to, and I think we're getting closer and closer with the depth at all these positions.
Certainly have depth on defense this year, and it certainly was a physical game for the Choctaw defense at Valdosta State. You never like to see anybody get hurt.
No,
quite honestly, the Choctaw defense put a couple of really good licks, and they were consistent despite the final score. I thought they were really consistent throughout the afternoon.
They sure were. Although the first two series obviously weren't what we were looking for, and then Coach Gilbert got those guys going. They were really physical the whole ball game. It made them go the long, hard way, all except one time. We had a punt blocked, and that hurts us. We're talking about offense, defense, and special teams. When we give up a punt block, they have the ball on the 1 yard line. That's really not going very far for them, especially a team that it'd have been great if we'd have gone there and had a goal line stand. But make them go the long, hard way. Make them drive all the way on our defense. When we're playing our best, it's very tough to do. We're tackling well. We're run well. We cover well. We don't give up the big play very often. Yes, it happened at the very end of the game when we got that turnover. And we wanted to take that one back, but our defense is playing really, really good. If we can play 60 minutes of shutdown defense like that, and that'd be what our goal is.
Well, you've got Florida Tech this Saturday night. They played in a lot of close games so far this season, only one conference game, and it was a win. Fort Valley State was their opponent last week, and Fort Valley State came back 3 times in the ball game to get a victory in that contest. So
yes.
This is a Florida Tech team that really knows how to play good football in close game situations.
They do. They played really well. They played well against Delta State, and also the game they played last, Fort Valley, like you said. Fort Valley's in the same conference as Albany State, and that's a strong league, as we know. Albany State, of course, we got a really good win there. They turned around and beat West Georgia the next week. So there's a lot of good competition between their league and also the Gulf South Conference. So that's good to see. But also, we know Florida Tech is good. We don't have any questions about anybody in our league. We know they're all strong, and Florida Tech has been an explosive offense. We're just sitting there watching their defense from last year and this year. A lot of talented players. They run extremely hard. They tackle well. They're a lot like us on defense. They play extremely hard. They did lose a couple of good players, which I'm glad. They were the defensive players of the year in the league. For 2 years, and then last year another defense. They had 2 guys that were just running around making a lot of plays, but they're not the only ones. So we're really going to have to play extremely hard and extremely well on both sides of the ball, including special teams. And I think if we do, we'll have a chance to win.
Up and down the conference slate, you look every weekend, and I think pretty much every weekend there have been 2 or 3 games where I've looked and said, wow, I didn't expect that.
Exactly.
And what I'm seeing is there is a big middle in this Gulf South Conference of teams that are playing good football and are getting kind of beating up on each other, I guess, just a little bit. The Choctaws are one of those teams, and so
yes.
As you head towards the second half of the season, I know you're taking one game at a time.
Yes.
Other folks maybe look at the schedule and say, there's a lot of winnable games on that schedule
They
for
are.
MC.
And every one of them are. Every one of them are winnable to us right now, and that's the way I think our team has approached this. The West Florida game was winnable. We could have won it. And then we look back and wish we would have. Hey, Valdosta State, it was winnable. Mm-hmm. And we had chances to take the lead in that game. Would we have won the game? I don't know, but we were right there with those guys. And that's the same way the rest of the schedule is going to be. So hopefully we come out on the winning end on this scoreboard on several of these ball games, if not all of them. That's our goal, to win all 5 and then put ourselves in position to make the playoffs. And that's been what's happened over the past few years. There's been 7-3 teams, of course 6-2 in our league would be the case. Give ourselves a chance to be ranked in the region. If we were able to do that and beat some of these quality teams, I think that would put ourselves in position to maybe do that. So that's our goal. And starting off with Florida Tech, though, that's what we've got to do, and look forward to them.
Well, Coach, again, we appreciate your time. Good luck in the game this weekend.
Thank you, Reed.